Hey guys, Voracious Prepper here. I wanted to apologize for not making a video for quite a long time. I deal with chronic pain syndrome, and unfortunately, it impacts my health really bad at times, and I don't have the energy to sit and make content. I've very recently started this channel, in hopes not to necessarily gain massive popularity or anything like that. It's just I enjoy sharing things that I've learned with other people. That really is all it comes down to. And, I enjoy firearms, I enjoy knives, I enjoy survival, I enjoy music. Music is one of my most second favorite passions, I'd say, in my life. Um, but I just enjoy teaching people things that I've learned as much as they teach me things that they've learned. That's kind of predominantly why I made this channel, but it got me thinking, what is prepping with chronic pain, or is it even worth it? Because a lot of people that prep and stuff, they need to be relatively healthy and fit to be able to survive long term. And, it got me thinking that holds weight, but at the same time you can still live an extended period of time if you are disabled. You just have to think outside the box. So, there are people I've seen on Facebook and Reddit who have talked about things like, oh, if something ever happens in society, I'm gonna take my bug out bag and I'm gonna ruck it out to the woods and I'm gonna live off grid and I'm gonna harvest my own food and create my own livestock and hunt for my own food and thrive out in nature. And any true die-hard homesteader or someone that lives off grid will tell you that it requires blood, sweat, and tears to do such a thing. It requires a good portion of money, and it requires enormous physical exertion from a day-to-day basis. A lot of us city dwellers, we see that life, that living, that lifestyle, and we're like, God, I wish I could do that. Oh, that looks so beautiful. I would love to live off of the land. But the amount of work that you have to put into something like that, it's serious business. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that I couldn't do it. I could not do it. It ain't, it's, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm tough and that I could pull that off. I know I couldn't. I physically would not be able to do it. And I don't think people realize how much work these people put into it. Every day they're doing something to sustain living, in very rural areas. It is not easy, and it requires you to get off your ass and do a lot of work. Um, but it's just ironic that a lot of people are like, yeah, I'll bug out, or I'll go live out in the woods, or I got a bug out spot out in the woods, or this or that. And I'm just sitting thinking to myself that 30% of Americans are considered morbidly obese, maybe even more. And they're talking in the next 10 or 15 years that roughly half of America will be considered morbidly obese. That is a major concern and problem. That is not okay. That is horrible. I mean, the American diet is off the charts. Unfortunately, that's what leads to a lot of chronic diseases. It's the food you put in your body. And I'll be honest, I unfortunately, I did some things to myself over the years that I shouldn't have done. And I have to pay the price for it now for the rest of my life. I live with chronic conditions because of poor choices that I have made. And I'm sure there is some genetic influence involved as well, but I've made some poor choices. So I'll just kind of talk about really quickly how I prioritize my things. I think most importantly, hopefully everybody has a shelter, right? You need a place to store your goods. You need a place to be able to have a safe, warm place to live and have your goods at. So I hope most of you people have a place, whether that is a home, an apartment, a trailer. A home is a home, okay? Secondary to that is water. You have to have water. You have to have a variety. I'm talking Gatorades, sodas, water, things you can mix in water to flavor it, but have an abundance, at least minimum. Just have a month's worth of water, okay? And food would be next. You got to have nutrition. And, not just stocking up on like long-term dry goods like your rice and your beans, but have some things that you enjoy too, like snacks and stuff as a morale boost. If something actually really bad did happen, your morale and your attitude is going to be low, and just having something you enjoy, a snack that you enjoy or something like that, it could be a real benefit to your mental health. So have a variety of things. And I know a lot of us are on a fixed income and we don't have a lot of money, but the reality with most preppers is we're all in the same boat. The only difference is when we go shopping, we just buy an extra can of this or that here or there, and we simply don't touch it. And over time, 6 months to a year, you have a pretty lengthy, food supply, and you can ration out food longer than you think. If you're staying at home all day, not doing anything, not physically exerting yourself much, you don't need 2,000 calories a day to survive. And you don't need a gallon of water a day typically to survive when you're just sitting at home doing nothing. You see what I'm saying? You can conserve some of these things, but what if you have a family member that has diabetes and they require insulin and they need a place to refrigerate that, but the power grid goes out? So these are the things that you got to think about and prioritize. Fortunately for me, I'm not on any medically assisted living devices. I don't need the power grid to survive, but there are some of you guys that do. So you have to prioritize that. If I had a loved one or something that absolutely needed access to power, that would be one of my very top priorities, part of my prepping. I need a generator. It needs to be able to sustain their medical equipment. I need to have ample amount of gas. If I have more money to spend, I'm going to go with a high quality solar system on my roof, and I'm going to find a way to have access to power, One of the most paramount things is education, really. It is studying everything you can about the illnesses that you have or somebody that you love has, and doing everything you can while society is still functioning to eat healthy, to take care of yourself, to take what life-saving medications you need religiously, to follow it down to a T, and try to conserve those medications. Like there are days that I feel really well, and some of the medicines I don't need every single day to survive, but some people do. Some people, like who have diabetes, they're insulin resistant. They need to have access to medicine every single day. But there are days that I have a really good day, and I don't have to take all of my medicines, so I can squirrel those away. There's been times that I've gone on like vacation and I've had excess medicines because I thought I was going to be gone for 2 months, but I was only gone for a month, and I saw the doctor again and they were able to write more scripts, so I ended up with basically a whole month's supply of certain medications. You could even tell your doctor, hey, I'm going out of town for 90 days. Can you write me a 90-day supply? And as long as if it's not a controlled substance, typically they will write you, a 90-day supply of medication, and you can store certain meds that way. And that's really like the whole mindset of prepping. There are people that take it to the extremes with prepping, but I don't look at myself, and I hope I don't ever be looked at as like some doomsday, end of the world, serious prepper, because I'm really not. I'm just a dude who likes guns and knives and also enjoys prepping. I kind of treat prepping partially as a hobby because I find enjoyment out of it, but I also see the benefits to it. I have seen enough things and researched enough things that I have seen that there are some positive. There is prepping holds merit. It really does, to a certain extent. Now, I'm more of the kind of guy where I'm more like I maybe have 6 months of prep, and that's it. And I'm okay with that. I mean, if society goes downhill that bad and after 6 months to a year things don't look up, I don't think I really want to be alive anymore. That's just me personally. I'm being brutally honest with you. I mean, if the rule of law doesn't come back and society doesn't start to show signs that it's straightening itself out, I don't know if I want to live in a lawless society for an endless amount of time. I don't. I enjoy the freedoms that I have. I like that I can go to the hospital when I need to and get medical help and things like that, and not having access excuse me, sorry, not having access to those things for emergency services and things like that for an extended period of time, it's going to be horrible, especially on people like me with chronic pain or illnesses and stuff. So, I'm not a fan of FEMA, but even they recommend that you should, have 2 weeks of food and water minimum. And as much as I despise FEMA, that's logical and that makes sense that at least having 2 weeks of food and water and med supplies and stuff, that's not unrealistic for anybody to achieve. And there's been multiple natural disasters where emergency services haven't been able to get to people within a reasonable time. Sometimes it's been a couple days, sometimes it's been a week. It just depends on the situation. They're tapped out. They can only do so much and they will get to you when they can. But we are so accustomed in society to calling 911. The response time 5 to 6 minutes, if you're lucky, or 5 to 10 minutes, right? And they're at your door. We're used to going to the grocery store and everything we could ever possibly want is within arm's reach, all beautifully packaged up and ready to go home. All our meat already butchered for us and all these things. We come home, we flip on a light, instantly have light and power. We take all these things for granted. I know I do, and I have. So that's kind of just what I feel about prepping. Like, you have to prioritize how serious your illness is and evaluate the situation from there and what things you think you need. I have a pretty extensive medical kit at home. I mean, all sorts of medications. I have all sorts of various medical instruments and supplies to handle wounds and things like that. So I feel pretty confident on my health region. Now, am I going to be Rambo going out there and looting for food and stuff like that if I run out? Probably not. I don't think I'll get very far, but I'll do everything I can to, defend my home where all my main supplies are. Another thing that, I was thinking about, it's like, let's say you have all your preps in place, you can stay home for an extended period of time. What is a very common thing that people that are stuck together deal with after staying together for so long? Cabin fever, right? So having things that you enjoy, playing guitar, reading books, drawing, crafts, anything of that nature, having an abundance of those things is a great morale boost. Just sitting endlessly, staring out the window, always looking, protecting or trouble. I'm not saying you shouldn't stay guard and be alert, especially if you're like me, you live deep in the inner city and stuff. There's a lot more threats and things that you have to take into mind, whereas people that live in more rural areas, they're a little more fortunate. They have more open land, they can see a threat much further away. In a city, you're a lot more exposed. This is just the reality, but these are things you got to think about. I mean, let's say there is like a civil war on our soil, maybe in my town. Eventually, bodies are going to start piling up on the streets. It's going to start leaking into the water system. It's going to completely taint the water system. The smell is going to be unfathomable. Okay? It's going to be unsanitary. What are you going to do to dispose of your waste eventually and things like that? What can you do to not draw attention to yourself that there's people in your home? There's so many things that you got to think about, and if people have questions and if I get enough answers in the comments, any question that you have pertaining to prepping, and I get, at least a dozen questions of the same question that people are curious about, ask, and I will gladly, make a video about it. If there's one thing about me that I find an extreme rarity in everybody, so many people. If there's one thing that I take pride in myself, is that I'm not afraid to be honest. I am honest to a fault, and that's the reality. I am genuinely honest to a fault. And frankly, I don't care. If people like me, thank you. If you don't, oh well. I genuinely don't care. I am not afraid to admit when I have made mistakes. I am not afraid if it tarnishes some of my reputation, all of my reputation. I am a human. I have made mistakes, but I am not a fake person. I get right down to the business. I'm not afraid to talk about pretty much anything. Anything. And that's the genuine truth. Um, so, like I said, for those of you that have chronic pain, I know how you feel. But just taking some precaution steps, having an adequate supply of some of your life saving medication, find a way to accumulate it. If you have a good day, if you can get by skipping a couple days, do that every so often, and you may have a couple months' supply of that medicine. Stretch it. These are things that you have to think about, but absolutely, those that are in chronic pain, as long as if they have a safe home to stay in and they have all the main necessary goods, there is a good chance you could survive a certain situation until things normalize again. Obviously, our chances are less greater than those that are extremely healthy, but it doesn't mean we don't stand a chance at all. Just educate yourself, do everything you can while things are good in society now to take care of your health before things get bad. I know it's easier said than done for a lot of us, but you need to try, okay? Um, yeah, I'm going to try to make more videos. There's so many topics that I want to discuss with you guys and share with you guys, and things that I find very intriguing that may be helpful, but I'll try to get out more videos, especially on a good day I've kind of revised my thought process of like my whole channel, and basically if I have a good day, I'm gonna make 5 or 6 videos all within the same day, and at least that gives me additional content that I can post for the days ahead if I'm not feeling very good, because I don't know what I'm expecting to obtain out of this channel. I just hope that some of you guys find this content interesting and I can share various things with you guys. And that's really what's cool about humanity, is just being able to learn off of one another. Everybody has something valuable to offer, and it's a matter of finding something that you enjoy and sharing it with the world, really. um, yeah, I hope you guys had a good Merry Christmas, and the New Year's coming up here very soon. I hope people have some good New Year resolutions in mind of things that they want to change. With that being said, I'm going to end this video, but if you have more in-depth questions, leave comments, and I'm sure I will make videos depending on, what it's about. But most things I have no problem talking about. It's more rather how many people are intrigued to hear about it. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'll make a video just because I get one single comment, but I'll see, depending on how I'm feeling. But with that being said, you guys take care. Voracious Prepper out.